Musty Hobbit here, and there's nothing that a hobbit loves more than another dose of Second Breakfast, my weekly show where I talk about myself and some topics that are going on in my mind. And today, I want to talk about backwards compatibility. There's been a lot of talk in the news recently, and executives making comments about how this is not a very popular thing, in their opinion, and I want to talk about that. And I will talk about that in just a minute. But last weekend, my mom came to town. She's a flight attendant and happens to come in through one of the major airports in the area. And so we had a few hours with her. We went to the Cedar Rapids Farmers Market, which had its first weekend this past weekend. And it was nice, it was crowded, and it was hot. Had some really good food. The farmers market at this time of year really doesn't have a lot of farmers. There's not a lot of produce at this time of year, especially in Iowa. So later in the year, I think we'll see more of that. Really now it was a lot of artisans and shaved ice, and there was a crepe. There's a place called Grateful Crepes, which is a Grateful Dead themed crepe truck, which is kind of nice. We had some pretty tasty stuff there. You can always find a good breakfast burrito. So it's pretty cool. I don't know if we'll go back again too soon. It is, like I said, very crowded, and with a small child, that's obviously something that I don't want to have to worry about. After that, we hit up the Summer of the Arts. They had an event in Iowa City. Usually to kick off the summer, they do something that there's lots of music and again, more artisans, kind of street sales and things like that. So we hit that up for a little bit, which was nice. It was pretty cool. Then Sunday we had what we'll call Sunday Fun Day over at a friend's house. We did some grilling. We had the kids play with the sprinkler. It was hot, but it worked out perfectly. The weather was great for it. I was not expecting to be the grill master, but I got enlisted, and so I pulled it off on a foreign grill to me, and so it was a good time. I'm hoping that we get to do that more regularly, and maybe not have it not be quite so hot, but plenty of things to do over there. As far as games I've been playing, Overwatch, the anniversary event is still going. I've heard now that there is a double XP weekend coming up, so if you have Overwatch, now's the time. If you want to grind out for loot boxes, or if you just want to boost some levels, you should definitely take advantage of that. I've been playing a little more competitive, which I did my placement matches. I got a 1270 something, which was lower than I was expecting, but I heard that a lot of people have been seeing lower starting numbers. So I'm hoping that we can boost that up a little bit. I've been diving into both Cartridge Club games of the month, both for CC Prime and CC Portable. So I am a few hours into Final Fantasy IV. I just got some aerial mobility. For those of you who know the game, you probably have an idea as to where I'm at. And for Donkey Kong, I believe at level like 2-4. On my first playthrough, unlike other people who were playing through this on their multiple times. So hoping to keep progressing there. That game is a lot of fun. It's more than I ever could have expected with the Donkey Kong license, because everything to that point had been just the same thing, and then this kind of takes it on a whole expanded level. I would encourage you to check it out. I know that you can get it on 3DS Virtual Console if you have that. Let's talk about backwards compatibility. So the reason that this topic came up was that earlier this week, Jim Ryan, who I believe is Sony Europe, he's an executive over at Sony Europe, was making a comment about how they had an event going on for Gran Turismo, and seeing side by side Gran Turismo 1 and 2 on the original PlayStation and the PS2 iterations compared to newer iterations. He made a comment about how, backwards compatibility is not something that people need because it's ancient. Why would people want to play that? And I found that comment very odd. And there's some interesting sort of things that have sort of spawned as a result of that comment. I want to bring up a couple of articles here. The one in particular, two in particular, one from Destructoid and one from PSU.com. And I'll start with the headlines and maybe we can talk about this, but the PSU.com article headline says, Sony right about missing PS4 feature according to awful Xbox One stats. And then another article from Destructoid, which was a little bit less fanboyish, that said, new report claims that Xbox One owners spend less than 2% of their time using backwards compatibility. So we have an executive downplaying the importance of a feature that their console can't do, or that they're just not willing to put in the time to do, because they feel like no one wants to play old games, which is weird because I feel like the retro scene is as booming as it has been, and that there's a lot of people wanting to play games. And I'll get into what I mean by that in a second. But the spin on this is just a little hard to swallow, and I find it strange that in the process of having your executive make a comment about what you can't do, you now have turned it around and said that, well, the Xbox One people aren't using it either, so he's right, they're ancient, nobody wants to play those things. I do use the backwards compatibility. Last month's Game of the Month was that Xbox 360 release, and I played it on my Xbox One, and I had a blast doing it, and certainly more than 2% of my time was spent in backwards compatibility. I looked at April's sales numbers for PlayStation. Of the top 10 games sold on PSN for April 2017, of those games, 4 of the top 10 were either re-releases or remasters of previous generation games. Now, by the standard that he's saying that no one wants to play old games, and by the standard that they're looking at Xbox One players, these games would not fall into backwards compatible. However, they are effectively Sony's way of selling backwards compatibility. Like, these games are selling wonderfully, which is awesome and is a good thing. But at the same time, these are old games. These are previous generation games. Even though they have maybe had another coat of paint put on them, and I have not played them, so I have no basis to say whether or not they are better or worse than the previous edition. But the point I'm trying to make here is that Sony doesn't want to put in the time to allow your PS3 games, or to allow you to put in a PS1 or a PS2 disc into your PS4 and just play it from the disc, or find a way to rip it onto the hard drive, which is what the Xbox One does with 360 games. The other case I want to make is the Switch. As of right now, the games that are released on the Switch are predominantly Wii U titles. We are on the edge of starting to see the bigger releases coming. Splatoon 2, ARMS. These are kind of the new flagships that are going to be coming out for Switch, and whatever else they decide to talk about at E3, including Mario Odyssey. But everything else right now is a beefed up version of the Wii U counterpart, previous generation's titles. So the Switch, while it isn't truly backwards compatible, it's not far off, right? You're buying a different method to put it into the system, but you're buying an old systems game. What Xbox is trying to do is to accommodate those users who want that option. Having the option of playing your old 360 games, and it's not all of those games, but having the option of playing a significant number of 360 games without having to purchase them again is a nice feature, and is a feature that I like, and is something that I hope that they continue to do. I would really like to see Xbox go in the direction of bringing forward previous generation, original Xbox. Let's get some more of those. Now, the Voodoo Vince remaster came out. I don't know that came out to a ton of success, but I hope they continue to do that. Whatever they did with Phantom Dust, which I downloaded, but I haven't tried. I never played the original Phantom Dust, so I really don't have any attachment to that game. But these are attempts to give us older games, and give us things that we enjoyed. Right? The system has 15 plus years of library to work with, and if you're not going to put out a new game in a series, there are plenty of people who would love to see a Crimson Skies, or if we could get a Psychonauts to come out. Granted, some of these are third party, but there's plenty of first party stuff that's out there that would certainly be in a lot of people's wheelhouse with regards to being able to play it on one console. Not everyone is like me. Not everyone is like some of you, to where you have the capability of playing everything. I used to be that guy who only had, I kept the newest version of it, I got rid of the old one, and that's when backwards compatibility was such a nice feature, because I didn't have to sit on 3 versions of, a company's console. I could manage one, and I could play as many of the games as I could from the previous generation. So I guess what I'm just trying to say is, I think that deep down there's a lot of PS4 owners who would really like to have PS3 backwards compatibility and not have to go through PlayStation Now to do it. I know that for me, if that was added, PS3 backwards compatibility, maybe not full, but a good chunk of it, it would definitely boost my desire to get that PS4 a little bit more than it is right now. Because for right now, so many games are very long investments of time. And some of these older games, ones that I've missed, there's a whole ton of them for PS3, and some for PS2 that I have not played, and just don't have a means to do it at this point. So what do you think? Do you use backwards compatibility? Is this something that you want out of your console? Do you care? What are your thoughts? Please leave me a comment in the comment section below. And of course, as always, if you have questions, please feel free to leave them using, in the comments here, or on Twitter. You can reach out to me and use the hashtag #ToBeAnswers. The last thing I want to mention, so don't go away just yet, is that we have E3 coverage starting Sunday night. We are going to be looking at 8 p.m. Central Time. It's going to be myself, It's Rocket Sauce, Caleb J. Ross, and P1 of the Cartridge Bros. And we are going to be doing a nightly show to highlight everything that's been talked about. We're cutting through all of the smoke and mirrors and getting down to the announcements. We'll talk about what our thoughts on it. We will have a live chat going, so you are welcome to watch and chat and throw comments at us and questions, and we will discuss those things. We will be starting Sunday night to talk about EA and Microsoft. Unfortunately, with Bethesda being as late as it is on Sunday night, we're going to shift that coverage to Monday, where we'll be covering Bethesda, Ubisoft, the PC Showcase, Devolver Digital, and Sony. And then on Tuesday, we'll be doing a little bit of time to do Nintendo specifically, and then sort of capping off all of the E3 press briefing presentations. Of course, there's more to come for the rest of the week, but with us not being on site, we unfortunately aren't going to have that level of coverage. If you aren't already subscribed, please do so, and be here at 8 o'clock Central Time to watch us talk about E3 and everything that we are excited about and everything that we think maybe they're doing wrong. So, anyways, thank you for coming by. Again, Second Breakfast comes out every Thursday, and I look forward to doing these episodes for you guys. It's just a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying what this is so far. So anyways, I have been Musty. Take care of yourself. Be good to each other.